Welcome to the UPoker Academy Poker Lecture Series designed to make you a better poker player. This lesson we're going to talk about blocking bets and value bets. So let's start with some definitions. A value bet is a bet you make on the river with the best hand, intending to be called by a second best hand. You make value bets when you're ahead. A blocking bet, on the other hand, is a bet you make with what might be the best hand, intending to prevent bluffs from worse hands and be called by third best hands or fourth best hands. You make blocking bets when you want to see a showdown cheaply. So in this hand we have 7-5 on a 7-7-10 board, and we are going to be value betting this 3 streets. The goal here is to be called by second best hands, so a hand like a 10 might call us down on the flop. They might continue calling us down through the river. So we're going to make value bets on every street in order to extract maximum value when we have the best hand from a hand that is second best. So here we've been bet into, and we have the option to raise, but if we raise, we stand to knock all of these players out. On the other hand, if we call, we stand to risk a straight coming, and this is a drawy board. So we are going to go in and raise for value here. And one important thing to note about blocking bets and value bets is that value bets are more valuable when you're in position. Blocking bets are more valuable when you're out of position. Since we are in position here, we're going to be making value bets. Value bets are typically sized at about 2/3 to 3/4 of the pot. Sometimes you might want to bet full pot on a value bet, but this is an example of about a 2/3 pot bet. We bet 300 into a 480. He has the option to call, and if he calls, we'll put in the other 500 on the river, or 600 on the river. The question to always make to answer with value bets is whether or not he will call with the second best hand. So if you were playing against an opponent who is skilled, he might actually fold with anything but a 7, and against most 7s, we're not doing too good. So this might be the opportunity to check behind if you're playing against a good opponent. I've played against Mzenon before. I don't think he's that good, so I think he might call here with a king or with a 10. If he's got a 7, he probably has a speed, but we still have to make this value bet regardless. If he will call with a 10 or with a king, then we have to value bet. He does call with a 10, so we were right to value bet the river, and that's the basics of the value bet. So here we've got ace 7 5-handed on the button. We are going to put in a raise to 3 times the big blind. We are called. So it didn't flop anything, but this is a great flop to c-bet, so we're going to put in about a 75 chip c-bet. We are called. We turn the 7. This could give us the best hand. It could be protecting us from draws. They might have hit something like 7-8. I think it's okay to bet one more street here. And now we have the option to value bet the river. So we want to put in a value bet when we have the best hand and we think we're going to be called by the second best hand. Is that the case here? Well, we don't necessarily have the best hand. We've just got a 7, and I don't foresee any weaker hands calling us. A 6 is not going to call, an ace is not going to call, but what is going to call is a 10, a 9, or an 8 who now has a straight. So this is not a place for a value bet. Here we're just going to check. And we do take it down. He had Jack Queen, but see, he wouldn't have called if we'd bet, so we wouldn't have made any money from betting. So we played that just right all the way through. We called him on his draw, and we bet to prevent his draw from coming in. And then on the river, when he didn't have any more cards to draw to, we just checked it down instead of bluffing his queen high out of the pot. If we'd bet there, of course he would have folded, we wouldn't have made any money.